Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at skin and eye infections from a medical microbiology textbook.
Okay.
But don't worry, it won't be a boring lecture.
It might surprise you how much is actually going on under the surface of your skin.
Right.
Like a constant microscopic battleground.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll cover some cool facts about the microbes themselves.
Right.
But also how our body defends itself.
Right.
And hopefully some practical tips too.
Absolutely. So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
Your skin is your largest organ, and it's exposed to a world of microbes.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So how does it even keep us safe?
Well, it's a multi-layered defense system.
Yeah.
Literally. So the outer layer is the epidermis.
Right.
And it's super tough.
Okay.
And that's thanks to a protein called keratin,
Keratin.
which is also in your hair and nails.
Oh.
And that makes it waterproof and resistant to damage.
So it's like our suit of armor?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Then under the epidermis is the dermis, and that's where you find the blood vessels and nerves.
Right, all the important stuff that keeps it working.
Exactly.
So then under that is the hypodermis.
Right.
Okay.
Which provides insulation and cushioning.
Okay, so back to the epidermis.
Yeah.
It's tough, but is that really enough to keep all the microbes out?
Well, the physical barrier is just the first line of defense.
Right.
It's also really dry, which most microbes hate.
Oh, okay.
And it's home to beneficial bacteria,
Right.
like your skin's microbiome.
Yeah.
That helps keep harmful microbes in check.
So there's like a whole little world on our skin.
Yeah. It's an ecosystem.
Wow. But I'm guessing some microbes do get through.
Oh, absolutely. Some
Yeah.
are really tough.
Right.
Let's start with the bacteria.
Okay.
One of the worst is Staphylococcus aureus.
Right.
It causes all sorts of skin infections.
I've heard of staph infections that can be bad, right?
They can be, especially when they cause those pus-filled lesions, like folliculitis, furuncles, and carbuncles.
Oh.
So imagine like a painful bump filled with that thick yellowish fluid.
Okay.
That's pus.
Okay, that's kind of gross.
It is.
But why are staph infections so hard to treat?
Well, for one thing, a lot of people carry it around without even knowing,
Uh-huh.
and that makes it easy to spread.
So it's like a silent spreader.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even worse, we are seeing more drug-resistant strains.
Oh, right, like MRSA.
Yeah, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus.
Okay.
And those are much harder to treat.
So what can we do? I know hand washing's important.
Oh, absolutely. You'd be surprised how effective it is.
Right.
But also, it's about using antibiotics responsibly.
Okay.
So only when you really need them.
Right.
And always finish the whole course your doctor gives you.
So you don't get resistant bacteria.
Exactly.
But staph isn't the only bad bacteria, right?
Not at all.
Oh, no.
We also have Group A streptococci,
Okay.
and they cause a bunch of skin infections too.
Like what?
Things like cellulitis,
Okay.
that's inflammation of the skin,
Uh-huh.
or erysipelas.
Erysipelas.
Yeah, it usually looks like a bright red rash.
Oh, okay. Those both sound unpleasant.
Yeah.
But are they as dangerous as staph?
Usually they can be treated with antibiotics,
Okay.
but in rare cases, Group A strep can cause necrotizing fasciitis.
I've heard of that. Isn't that the flesh-eating bacteria?
That's the one.
Wow. Okay, so that's obviously really serious.
They can be life-threatening.
Right. Are there any other bacteria we should be aware of?
There are many, but I'll mention two others.
Okay.
Pseudomonas aeruginosa.
I think I've heard of Pseudomonas. Doesn't that cause problems for people with cystic fibrosis?
It can,
Okay.
but it also causes skin and eye infections in everyone.
Oh, so it's more common than I thought.
Right. It's versatile.
Uh-huh.
It likes moist environments.
Okay.
So you might find it in hot tubs or pools.
Oh, so hot tub rash is real.
Oh, yeah. And it can cause more serious infections, too,
Right.
especially in people with weaker immune systems.
Okay, that's good to know. What about the other one?
The other one is Propionibacterium acnes.
That sounds familiar.
That's the one that causes acne.
Oh, of course.
It loves blocked pores,
Right.
and it feeds on sebum, which is the oil your skin produces.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of the bacteria oil and dead skin cells.
So a pimple is actually a bacterial colony.
That's one way to think about it.
Oh, and I never thought about it that way.
So it's all about understanding this microscopic world on our skin.
Right.
But bacteria aren't the only players here.
Oh, right. What else?
We also have to worry about viruses.
Oh, yeah, viruses.
Yeah, they can cause all sorts of skin problems too.
Really? Like what?
Well, one of the most common is human papillomavirus,
HPV.
or HPV,
Right.
which causes warts.
Warts?
Yeah, you know those small growths you can get
Oh,
on your hands, feet, face, even genitals.
yeah. I've definitely had my share of warts.
Yeah, they're very common.
But are they all caused by the same HPV?
Actually, there are over 100 different types.
Oh, wow.
And they all cause different kinds of warts.
Oh, so it's not just one thing.
Some cause common warts. Others cause plantar warts.
You're right.
On the soles of your feet, or flat warts on your face.
So different warts for different places.
Yeah, and some types of HPV are linked to cancer.
Oh no, like what kind?
Particularly cervical cancer.
Right.
That's why it's so important to know the different types.
Yeah.
And talk to your doctor about vaccination if you're concerned.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
What other viruses should we look out for?
Another common one is herpes simplex virus.
Okay.
Or HSV. There are two main types. HSV1 usually causes oral herpes.
Like cold sores?
Yeah, cold sores.
And HSV2?
That one's usually genital herpes.
Oh, okay. So cold sores are caused by a virus.
That's right.
I didn't know that.
It's super common.
Really?
Most people get it at some point.
Well, that's a little disturbing.
Yeah, it's not great.
But it's just a cold sore, right? Not that serious.
Well, usually they're just a nuisance.
Yeah.
But they can be painful, and they are contagious. And in rare cases, it can spread to other parts of the body.
Oh.
And cause more serious infections.
Okay, so maybe they are more than just a nuisance.
Maybe a little.
What about our eyes? Can viruses infect our eyes too?
Definitely.
Really?
One of the most common is viral conjunctivitis.
Conjunctivitis.
Also known as pink eye.
Oh, right, pink eye.
And it's often caused by adenoviruses.
Adenoviruses.
Which also cause the common cold.
Oh, so you can have a runny nose and pink eye.
Yeah, double whammy.
Not fun. What are the symptoms of pink eye?
Usually redness, itching, and a watery discharge.
Oh, okay.
And it's really contagious.
So another reason to wash your hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's another less common one called herpes keratitis.
Herpes keratitis.
It infects the cornea.
Right, the outer layer of the eye.
Yeah, and it's caused by herpes simplex virus.
Oh, so that's not good.
It could be pretty serious.
Oh.
It could even cause vision loss if it's not treated.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out.
Yeah.
Bacteria, viruses.
Yeah.
What else is out there?
Well, we've got the bacteria and viruses covered.
Right.
But we can't forget about fungi.
Fungi. Like mushrooms.
Not exactly mushrooms.
Right.
But fungi come in all sorts of forms.
Oh, okay.
Yeasts, molds, and mushrooms.
Right.
And some of them can cause infections in humans.
So we can get fungal infections on our skin and eyes?
Yes, although eye infections are less common.
Okay.
But fungal skin infections are pretty common.
Like what?
Well, one of the most well-known is Tinea corporis.
Tinea corporis.
It's also called ringworm.
Oh, ringworm.
Yeah, it's that red, itchy, ring-shaped rash.
Right. I've heard of ringworm, but isn't it caused by a worm?
Nope. It's actually a fungus.
Oh, really?
Called the dermatophyte.
Dermatophyte.
And they love warm, moist environments.
Okay.
So it's often spread through contact with contaminated stuff.
Like sharing towels or gym equipment?
Exactly.
Oh, yuck.
And dermatophytes cause other infections, too.
Like what?
Like tinea capitis on the scalp.
Right.
Or tinea pedis, which is athlete's foot.
Athlete's foot. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's sweaty feet, perfect place for a fungus.
Exactly. It's a breeding ground.
Okay, but ringworm and athlete's foot, those aren't that bad, right?
Well, they're not the worst, but there are other fungal infections too.
Oh, no, like what?
There's aspergillosis.
Aspergillosis?
Yeah, it can be pretty serious.
Okay, what is it?
It's caused by molds of the genus Aspergillus.
Right.
And these molds are everywhere.
Okay.
Most people breathe them in without any problem.
Uh-huh.
But for people with weaker immune systems,
yeah,
they can cause lung infections.
Oh, so it's more dangerous for some people.
Exactly.
So another reason to keep our immune system strong.
Absolutely. And one more fungus I want to mention. This one's for the gardeners.
Oh, okay, what is it?
It's called Sporothrix schenki.
Sporothrix schenki.
Okay.
I don't know
It
that.
causes sporotrichosis.
Sporotrichosis.
Which is also called rose gardener's disease.
Rose gardener's disease.
Yeah, it usually develops after getting pricked by a thorn.
Oh, so even a rose can be dangerous.
Right, you never know. Okay, so bacteria, viruses, fungi, is that it?
Not quite.
Oh, no.
We also have parasites to worry about.
Parasites. Okay, now it's getting really creepy.
One that's especially important for contact lens wearers is acanthamoeba.
Acanthamoeba, what is that?
It's an amoeba.
Okay.
A single-celled organism.
Right.
And it can cause a serious eye infection.
Oh, no.
Called acanthamoeba keratitis.
Keratitis. That sounds painful. How do you get that?
Usually through contaminated contact lens solution or water.
Oh, so that's why you have to be careful with contact.
Exactly. Hygiene is so important.
Okay, contact lens, hygiene, check. But it can't get any creepier than amoebas in your eye?
Right. You'd think so.
Oh, no.
But there's also the eye worm.
The eye worm. You're kidding, right?
I wish it was.
There's a worm that lives in your eye?
Well, it's not quite that simple,
Okay.
but it's still pretty unsettling.
Okay. I'm listening.
Worm is called loa loa,
Loa loa.
and it lives in the tissue under your skin.
Okay.
But it can travel throughout the body, and sometimes it ends up in the eye.
Okay, that's officially nightmare fuel. How do you even get that?
It's transmitted through the bite of a deer fly
A deer fly.
that's infected with loa loa larvae.
Okay.
These flies are found in parts of Africa.
So we don't have to worry about that here.
Probably not.
Okay, well, that's a relief.
It's still pretty gross, though.
It is. So we've got bacteria, viruses, fungi, and now parasites.
Yep.
It seems like our skin and eyes are under constant attack.
They are.
How do we even stand a chance?
That's a great question. And it brings us to the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll explore how our bodies fight back.
Okay, I'm ready to hear about that. Bring on the body's defenses. We'll be back in part 2.
See you then. Welcome back to the deep dive. Before we got sidetracked by that eye worm thing,
Yeah, the eye worm.
you were about to talk about how our bodies actually fight back against all these microbes.
Right, because I definitely need some reassurance after that last part.
Yeah, no worries. You're not defenseless. Your body has all sorts of amazing ways to protect itself.
Okay, so it's like we're in an arms race with the microbes.
It is a constant back and forth
Oh, wait.
with both sides, developing new strategies.
Trying to outsmart each other.
Exactly. But let's start with the basics.
Okay,
We talked about the skin as a physical barrier,
right,
but it's not just passive.
right. You mentioned the beneficial bacteria.
Right, the skin's microbiome is super important.
Yeah.
It keeps the harmful microbes in check.
How does it do that?
Well, they compete for resources and space, and they can even produce substances that stop the bad guys from growing.
So it's like our own little army on our skin.
That's a great way to think about it. And your skin has other defenses too.
Really? Like what?
Well, your sweat glands produce these antimicrobial peptides
Antimicrobial peptides.
that can kill bacteria and fungi directly.
Wow. So even our sweat is helpful.
It is. And sebum, the oil from your skin,
Right.
it creates a slightly acidic environment that a lot of microbes don't like.
So even our sweat and oil are part of the defense system.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing.
It is. What about our eyes?
Yeah.
They seem so much more vulnerable.
They are more delicate, but they have their own defenses.
Okay, like what?
Well, tears, for example,
Yeah.
they contain enzymes like lysozyme
Lysozyme.
that can break down bacterial cell walls.
So crying is actually helpful.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
Tears also wash away debris and microbes.
Right, to keep things clean.
Exactly. And your eyelids,
Yeah.
they act as a physical barrier.
Right, we blink all the time.
And that blinking reflex protects your eyes from anything getting in.
Okay, it's amazing how many defenses we have.
It is. But the real heavy lifting is done by the immune system.
Right, the immune system.
It's this complex network of cells and organs
Yeah.
that protects you from all sorts of threats.
So it's like a highly trained army.
That's a great analogy, with different units for different tasks.
Okay, so what are the different units?
Well, we think of it as two branches, the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system.
Okay, innate and adaptive.
The innate system is your first line of defense.
So it's like the frontline soldiers.
Exactly. They're quick, but not very specific.
Okay, so they just attack anything that looks suspicious?
Pretty much. So these include cells like macrophages
Macrophage.
and neutrophils.
Ew.
Macrophages are like the garbage collectors. They engulf and destroy invaders.
Okay.
And neutrophils are more like assassins,
Oh.
releasing toxins to kill the microbes.
So it's a pretty intense battle going on in there.
It is. And these innate cells also release signals
Signals.
that trigger inflammation.
Oh, so that's why infected areas get red and swollen.
Exactly. It's a sign that your immune system is working.
So inflammation is actually a good thing.
In this case, yes. It's trying to get rid of the invaders.
Okay.
But the innate system is just the beginning.
Right. You mentioned the adaptive immune system?
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, how so?
Well, it's slower to respond, but much more targeted.
So if the innate system is the front line,
Yeah,
the adaptive system is like the special forces.
perfect analogy. It involves cells called T cells and B cells,
T cells and B cells.
and they learn to recognize specific antigens.
Antigens.
They're like unique molecules on the surface of the invaders.
Okay.
So the adaptive system can target specific invaders.
Oh, wow. So they're like microbial assassins.
You got it. B cells produce antibodies,
Antibody.
which are proteins that mark the invaders for destruction.
Okay.
And T cells can directly attack and kill infected cells.
That's incredible. So our bodies are pretty good at fighting back.
We are. But if we're so good at it, why do we ever get sick?
Yeah, that's a good question. It seems like we should be immune to everything.
Well, it's complicated.
Right.
Sometimes microbes evolve to evade our defenses.
So they're always changing.
They are. They might hide from the immune system or find ways to resist our attacks.
So it's like a constant game of hide and seek.
Exactly. And sometimes our immune system is weakened,
Okay.
which makes us more vulnerable.
What weakens our immune system?
Lots of things.
Like what?
Stress, lack of sleep,
Okay.
poor nutrition,
Yeah.
even certain medical conditions.
So taking care of ourselves is really important.
Absolutely. It helps your immune system stay strong.
Oh, okay. What else can we do?
Well, we talked about hand washing
Right.
and using antibiotics responsibly.
Yeah.
And of course, vaccinations.
Vaccines.
They're so important.
Right. They're like giving our immune system a cheat sheet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But sometimes even with all that,
Yeah.
our immune system needs help.
Right. And that's when we need medication.
That's right. We have antibiotics, antivirals,
Right.
antifungals, and antiparasitic drugs.
So we have a whole arsenal to fight back.
We do, but it's important to use them correctly
Okay.
and under the guidance of a doctor.
So we don't create superbugs.
Exactly. Overuse can lead to resistance,
Right.
so it's crucial to use them responsibly.
And follow the doctor's instructions? Okay. Prevention is key. But if we do get sick, we have options.
You do.
But what about those really creepy infections?
Yeah.
Like the eye worm.
Ah.
How do you even treat something like that?
Well, those require specialized treatment,
Okay.
often a combination of medication
Uh-huh.
and sometimes even surgery.
Oh, wow.
But the good news is they're pretty rare,
Okay, that's good to know.
especially in developed countries.
Okay, so we don't have to worry too much.
Not too much, but it's still good to be aware.
Right, especially when traveling.
Exactly. Awareness and prevention are key.
Okay, but beyond these specific infections,
Yeah,
it's fascinating to think about how everything is connected.
it is.
Yeah.
It's all about this relationship between us and the microbial world.
Right.
We're constantly interacting with them,
Yeah.
and it can be good, bad, or somewhere in between.
It's like a delicate dance.
It is. We need to understand the steps,
Right.
know our partners,
Uh-huh.
and be ready to defend ourselves.
If things get out of hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how we stay healthy.
But even with all we know,
Yeah,
there's still so much we don't know.
there is. So much to learn.
Like what? What mysteries are still out there?
Well, for example, we're still learning about the microbiome.
The microbiome.
Yeah, all those trillions of microbes living in and on us.
Right. I've heard so much about the microbiome.
It's a hot topic. And for good reason.
Yeah.
It seems to affect everything.
Right, our digestion, our immunity.
Even our mental health.
It's amazing how much it influences us.
It really is. The more we learn,
Yeah.
the more we realize how interconnected we are.
With this whole microbial world.
Exactly. But that's a deep dive for another day.
Yeah, we'll have to come back to that one.
We will. But I think we've given our listeners plenty to think about today.
We have. We covered so much.
The anatomy of our skin and eyes,
Right?
the different types of microbes,
Yeah, bacteria, viruses,
Yeah.
fungi, parasites.
the amazing defenses our bodies have,
The immune system is incredible.
and the importance of hygiene and a healthy lifestyle.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. I hope our listeners learned something new.
I think they did. So until next time, stay curious
Stay healthy.
and maybe think twice before rubbing your eyes.
And don't forget to wash your hands.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So we've seen just how many microbes are out there trying to infect us.
It's a whole microscopic world of bad guys, right?
It is. But then I wonder, why aren't we sick all the time?
Yeah, it makes you appreciate your immune system.
Right. It must be working really hard to keep us healthy.
It definitely is.
It's-
We touched on it before, but it's pretty amazing.
So how does it actually work? Can you break it down for us?
Okay, so remember there are two main parts.
Right, the innate and the adaptive.
Exactly. The innate immune system is like your first line of defense.
So it's always on guard.
Yeah, it's like having security guards patrolling your body,
Okay.
looking for anything suspicious.
Right, and they're quick, but not always that precise.
Right. They don't need to know exactly what it is,
Uh,
just that it doesn't belong.
so what about the adaptive immune system?
That's where things get more targeted.
Okay.
It's like a team of detectives.
Detectives.
Yeah, they take a little longer to respond,
Okay.
but they're much more effective.
So how do these detectives figure out who the bad guys are?
They have this incredible memory.
Memory.
Yeah, every time you encounter a new microbe,
Uh-huh.
your adaptive immune system creates a memory of it.
So it remembers what the microbe looks like.
Yeah, it stores information about its characteristics.
So it's like building a database of all the bad guys it's seen before.
Exactly. And that memory is what keeps you from getting the same infection again and again.
Oh, I see. So that's why you don't get chickenpox twice.
That's right. Your immune system remembers it and knows how to fight it off.
That's so cool. And that's how vaccines work too, right?
Exactly. Vaccines introduce your immune system to a harmless version of the microbe.
Right.
So it can build that memory without you actually getting sick.
Oh, vaccines are like giving your immune system a cheat sheet.
They are. It's a brilliant way to protect yourself.
It is. But sometimes, even with our amazing immune system, we still get sick.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not perfect.
So why is that?
Well, microbes are evolving too.
Oh, right. They're always changing.
Exactly. They're constantly trying to find new ways to avoid our defenses.
So it's like a constant battle.
It really is. Sometimes the microbes win and sometimes we win.
Okay, so what can we do to help our immune system win more often?
Well, we talked about the basics.
Right, hand washing vaccine?
Yeah, and using antibiotics wisely.
Okay, those are all important.
But it's also about taking care of yourself in general.
Right.
Eating a healthy diet, getting enough sleep.
Managing stress, all that stuff.
Exactly. All those things support your immune system.
Right, so it can do its job.
It all plays a role.
That brings us back to the microbiome.
Right. All those trillions of microbes living in and on us.
It seems like it's connected to everything.
It really is. It's amazing how much influence it has.
So it's not just about fighting off the bad microbes.
No, it's also about supporting the good ones.
The ones that help keep us healthy.
Exactly. It's a whole ecosystem in there.
It's incredible when you think about it.
It is. And we're only just beginning to understand it all.
Yeah, there's still so much to learn.
But that's the beauty of science.
It is. Always something new to discover.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have. From the anatomy of our skin and eyes to the microscopic world of bacteria, viruses, and fungi.
Even parasites?
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It has. And I hope our listeners are leaving with a new appreciation for their own bodies.
Absolutely. Our bodies are amazing machines.
They're constantly working to keep us healthy.
So until next time, stay curious.
Stay healthy.
And remember, your body is an incredible thing. Take care of it.
And don't forget to wash your hands.